Hello. Would it be an Oh What a Marvel Hawkeye show if we didn't miss our release target not once, but nearly twice? That is the way that we like to do things here. I am Dean, and I am joined by, he's going to introduce himself not only to you, but also to me. So that's how we're doing it today. So happy to have you.
I'm Steve. I'm here by request of the wonderful Josh Rayner, who we write together at DC Comics News. And obviously, I'm on the DC Comics News podcast, amongst many other things. But I want to talk about Kate and Clint. So we'll talk about all the other stuff after the important stuff.
Kate and Clint. Yeah, we get Kate and Clint. We get them eventually. We have to wait like a whole episode. So that's good that they released both of these, which I think had more to do with like lining up with the Boba Fett release schedule and everything like that. But it works out nicely because I think a lot of people would have been pissed if they kind of just got what would have been the first episode's mostly Kate.
Yeah.
Which is great, nothing wrong with that, but the show is not called Kate.
It's called Hawkeye.
It's called Hawkeye, and we've heard of him. We want to see him. So let's rewind a little bit because this opening scene is great. I really like this opening scene. We get the Battle of New York from the perspective of just normal people, know. And I always want more of that stuff. I want to see more of like the existential crises that people are having when they're seeing these like giant leviathans flying over the fucking skylight, which is a great shot. How are you feeling? Like, give me impressions overall and kind of coming into the beginning of this episode.
Well, because obviously I didn't know what was coming, and being more of a comics nerd than a TV and movie nerd, I was just as excited to see Kate Bishop as I was Clint. So both Hawkeyes in one show. Well, 2 out of the 3 comics Hawkeyes in one show really had me excited. But seeing the way they adapted her origin to include the first Avengers movie and the Battle of New York and all of that, I just thought, yeah, this is cool. Obviously, it was just brilliant seeing, because I remember Hawkeye taking the shot at the Chitauri heading towards that skyscraper, and they included that. And then seeing her develop that hero worship from day one just added to the stakes and made her a character viewers wanted to know about, who might not have heard of her because they're not comics nerds from the get-go. So yeah, brilliant opening scene. Really well done.
It's really fun what you say about how like it looks like they've literally used like one of the specific like kills that he has from the Avengers. Like this slot's so like perfectly in there because like in Batman v Superman, right? They do the opening scene where Bruce Wayne is in the battle in Metropolis. So obviously, we all know that was never intended to be the case. And the same thing's true here, but it just felt like that was going on in there. Like, I want to go back and watch the Avengers. I want to zoom in and see if Haley Steinfeld is in there from the future as an adult.
I thought the exact same thing, and so did my missus. Let's watch Avengers again.
I really believe that you could go back and zoom in and she's just right in there, know. Yeah.
She won't be, but
you say you're a big comic book fan, which is cool because it makes me want to bring something up. This opening title sequence, they completely steal this from the run that they. I'm assuming that a lot of this this whole show is going to be based on. We don't know how the plot's going to shake out.
Yeah,
but yeah, they rip the like the artwork and the design aesthetic and everything straight from the comics, which is really cool. But also, I did happen to read that this artist is not getting any credit or pay for this, so that kind of bums me out a little bit. I believe it's David Ayer is the artist.
That's wrong.
And him and Matt Fraction just nowhere near this, creatively or royalty-wise, as it were.
That is out of order.
So that bums me out. So let's get back to shilling for Disney.
Yes.
So Kate's dad dies in the Battle of New York, and the mum does what any self-respecting parent would do afterwards, at the funeral no less. Yeah, I see you've just been through a traumatic experience. Yeah, sure, you can have a bow and arrow. That's fine. She just flat out asked her mum for a bow and arrow, and she's just like, yeah, I guess that's the direction my kid's life is going in now. Like, how supportive is that?
It depends which way you look at it. Someone's just like, hang on, what if she uses the bow and arrow on herself or her friends? Or the other version is, well, actually, she's lost enough. Let's give her what she wants, and maybe it'll help her through this. So, 50-50 horses for courses.
Really? Because she's got she's doing like martial arts, so they're training her up. You know, she might as well be going to the fucking island from Green Arrow at this point, and just like going through the trials of whatever it is. But like, gives her the bow and arrow. We find out later on, I think in episode 2, that she's been given like a supply of credit cards that she just has, and like access to like, you know, places to hide. And like her mum is just like the reluctant, like,
ultimate enabler
person in a chair. Yeah. Like, what are you doing? And you're constantly scolding her for running off, putting herself and other people in danger. But you bought her the bow and arrow, gave her a credit card. You might as well just buy her a private jet and let her be Batman at that point. That's fine. Absolutely fine. I've got my notes here, but I only have the notes for one episode twice.
Okay.
And I'm just trying to figure out which. I believe I have the notes for episode 2, so that's where I'm at. Pinpoint accuracy, guys. On this Hawkeye show, that's what we're getting. Where do we go next? What am I? You want?
We got to talk about the bell tower, surely.
The bell tower, yeah.
About the bell tower.
Go on. So she's at some kind of gymnastics athlete Olympian school of some kind. I don't know where they are. It's a nice place with a bell tower, and she's on a dare or a bet or something, some kind of like, you know, induction ritual, or I don't know what it is. It's like, yeah, I'm just gonna shoot the bell and get away with it. Like, it's literally a bell. Its sole purpose is to notify people all around that something is happening, and this is what you choose. So I don't know what. So I think her mum's paying off the principal of this school as well. I think she's got her fingers in all the pies.
And it's Dad's money. I mean, that's the thing, because at the beginning, when they're arguing about losing the apartment, it's his apartment and his family's apartment. So I just think the mum's just lucky and gives everything to poor old Kate to get rid of her. But I think
that's a nice apartment as well. Like,
yeah, not half in New York.
Perfect view of the Stark Tower. Ridiculous. Finish your point.
Center of the alien invasion universe.
You're at the Nexus here. You know, insurance is ridiculous.
Do not live in New York.
I'm telling you, man, that is the show I want. I want a show that's just about an insurance firm. I want a fly on the wall documentary about the insurance firms in the Marvel universe.
There was a comic book called Collateral Damage. They need to bring those guys into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because that was literally a series based upon all the insurance brokers and all the real estate people and all the people who suffered every time New York got crapped on by Galactus or
all the time,
or Thanos.
All the time,
every other week, by the sounds of things. And Spidey, come on, Spidey, Daredevil, Jessica Jones, everyone's in New York. So lovely. My favorite city in the world outside of London, but I don't think I'd want to live there.
No,
not in the Marvel Cinematic New York anyway.
Yeah. You know what? To flip that round, though, it must really suck to live in London in the MCU, because you're just like, nothing's happening. When are we going to get something?
Well, there was that one time in that awful Thor movie.
Oh, okay. Why do we only get Thor 2? You guys have got Avengers and Infinity War happening on your doorstep, and we get to have Thor 2 happening on a fucking bus.
Doctor Who's been destroying London for nearly 60 years, so...
Yeah. I know what the rules are in Doctor Who with like the collateral and like the public. Sometimes they all know about the aliens. Sometimes they're surprised. I don't follow that show, but that's a different conversation entirely.
Yeah, completely. But
let's get us back on track. let's try and stay on target. That's going to be the hashtag for
Sorry,
today.
Disney.
Sorry, Disney. You don't own Doctor Who yet.
Yet, being the operative phrase.
I do not unsee that happening. How many double negatives can I use? Right. So Kate's at school. She gets in trouble with the parent, or with just the mum, right? And then we introduce I guess he's the stepdad character.
Yes.
Armand, is it?
Armand's the uncle, yeah. The stepdad's uncle.
That's no uncle, is it? And they say, this is Uncle Armand, and he comes in twiddling a fucking rose in his mouth. That's no uncle.
No, that's Frank. That's Frank, the stepdad, twiddling the rose. Armand's the guy who gets deaded.
Oh, okay. I'm getting mixed
Probably
up.
by Armand. By Frank, rather.
Here's the thing. So this guy comes fucking waltzing in, and it's like, how is this guy not the villain? Oh, he's literally, he's a moustache twirling,
yep,
miscellaneous European sword collector.
Yep. Who's actually deadly with a sword, even though he pretends he's not.
No mystery whatsoever.
And where did he get those butterscotches with the Armand anagram from? Oh, his dead uncle's flat? No way, really?
Fucking, it's all about branding. If you're going to be a villain, you can't just come in as a cliche, literally twirling your fucking moustache. You've got to have branding. You've got to have candy. You've got to have notebook and pens.
And you've got to be seducing mum.
And you've got to be seducing the mum, which, you know, is every self-respecting miscellaneous European stereotype wants to do, is to bang your mum.
Oh, dear.
Which he would retract his sword once in a while, know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
All right, so we bring this in, and I'm making fun of this stuff, but to be honest, I really don't understand, like, the gravity of the politics here between, you know, Frank and Armand, and like what significance does the sword have? He's collecting other swords. Why is this one important? It's not like, you know, Hawkeye was running around with like a magical Thanos sword or something. You know, it was just a sword that pops in and out. You know, and I just don't really see how that factors into the plot, because we don't really get a big sense of where the plot's headed really in these first 2 episodes. I don't feel like there's really anything driving this whole thing other than need to get the sword, need to get the suit, which in and of themselves are fairly unremarkable.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Possibly.
Am I being too harsh?
No, but again, because obviously, being a comics nerd, there are several swords-based characters in the Marvel universe, one of whom is called the Swordsman, and his name is Jacques Duquesne, who is French, and he's been a hero, he's been a villain, he trained Hawkeye, the original Hawkeye, Clint Barton,
he's like the mentor at the circus or something like that.
So I'm thinking, could it be? We haven't heard the surname yet, but
we're getting a swordsman. But
yes,
but what is that? How does that tie into, like, what's the journey for Kate here, other than just like fangirling and just throwing, you know, like teenage,
douchey stepdad trained her hero? There's a link between the two characters.
Yeah, which is pretty weird. But then we get the sword, we get the suit, we kill the bad guy. I mean, Hawkeye hasn't seen him yet, has he? So we don't know if they do know each other.
Exactly. I'm waiting for that penny to drop to see if I'm right, if it is Swordsman. But you know,
yeah, no. Now that you're saying it, that's starting to click in my head. They didn't come face to face. I thought they did, but no, they haven't. So that's pretty good. I'll tell you one thing. Speaking of pretty good, what's good? We like an establishing shot. What we don't like is between every fucking scene, we've got to do like 18 Christmas themed establishing shots. When every time we go between Kate and Clint in this episode, it was just taking me out of it. Like, we get it. We know it's Christmas. You know, there's decorations in the background that you know, they worked the some Christmas music into the score.
They've even followed us on the show. Really good. Dean, look,
it's
it's everywhere.
It's fucking everywhere. Like, no, I don't mind the decorations and stuff that are like in the scenery and in the set, but it was just the overuse of like the helicopter establishing shots. Like they really want you to feel like this is Die Hard.
But do you know what really annoyed me about all of that? They talked about the Rockefeller tree, and we didn't see the Rockefeller tree.
I don't even know what that is. I mean, it's a tree, but
mate,
you know,
it's the tree. The only place more magical than Disney at Christmas is New York, and well, go there one time for Christmas. Be there; it's the best. And that tree, the fact that they talked about it and didn't show it, really annoyed me.
there you go. Like you want your cameos, you want your kingpins in there, you want your swordsman. What
your
you
Kevin
really
McAllisters.
you want a tree. That's what the real fans are waiting to see is the Rockefeller tree.
Damn straight.
So they've set that up for a major appearance in episode 3. We've teased that up. Right before Hawkeye and Swordsman come face to face and hash out their bitter old rivalry.
Josh, thank you, Josh.
That's beautiful. So, is that basically the Batman Returns tree? Is that what that is?
Pretty much. Gotham, New York, Gotham.
Same shit, different it's the day. Same thing, right? I once waiting for Max Shrek to hit a big red button and all the bats Selena come out. Selena comes falling out the window, hits the floor.
Damn! Wrong franchise. Let's go back to
wrong
Disney.
Franchise. We got no cats in this episode. We do get Pizza Dog. We get the dog, and I know of him. I haven't read this run, but I've heard enough people gush about it to have heard of Pizza Dog. But the whole crux of this first episode, Kate sums up in a line actually, because she's just like, "Yeah, I beat up some guys, saved the dog." That's literally this whole episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a fun moment. Like if you're gonna do something, save a dog. But you know, we go from the Battle of New York at the beginning of this to okay, so it's just a creepy sword collector and I'm saving a dog. I just don't know where I don't know. I'm just not feeling the stakes, man. It's not like, and I just feel with all these establishing shots, it's very dialogue heavy. These first 2 episodes, not all of the jokes are landing, and I don't know.
I think it's got to be a comic thing. Then it's got to be a comic thing because obviously reading the comics and obviously Tracksuit Mafia and everything else with it for me was just like, oh, is this going where I think it's going? So obviously it's a different journey. So maybe I was wrong. I keep thinking that Marvel diverged too far from the comics, but this time they probably stayed too close to it and lost the average audience of TV viewers and moviegoers.
Maybe.
But for me, yeah, it was great because obviously I got the swordsman thing and the guest villain at the end of episode 2. I recognized her too, but obviously many people wouldn't have.
Speaking of staying too close to things, right? So after another set of establishing shots, we meet with Clint. And we're at the theatre, right, for the Avengers Avengers musical, right?
God, it's bad.
Well, because you see a sign that says Rogers the Musical, but I thought he was at Avengers the Musical, which made me think, are they doing like a whole like branching out of all the different franchises into their own individual musicals, which is brutal. But here's the thing: so we catch up there with him and the family. He's having some quality time with his family at the Avengers musical, and then he's having like all these like PTSD flashbacks, right? Because you know the battles and that and all of this stuff. And then we find out that they chose to go to this musical. I thought that he was going to be there on some kind of like, you know, premiere, like publicity duty kind of thing, but he chose to go to this when he's got Avengers Battle PTSD, and they just thought, fuck it, I'll spend some time with the family and take them to a triggering
It's what you do for the kids,
musical for the kids.
It's what you do for your kids. They mostly pulled a Matt Fraction on poor old Clint. I mean, they didn't include Matt Fraction's name in the credits for the opening titles, and they didn't invite poor old Clint to a musical which he's a part of. Damn it! And then they even put who in it? Ant-Man, who wasn't even there. What the hell?
I like that line. I thought that was fun. He wasn't even there, which is great. He was. I mean, maybe he was. You just didn't see him.
Yes.
You want to make everyone go back and watch everything. Well, what are you doing if that's not what your primary concern is with these shows?
Exactly.
So he's at the musical, then he's like, and then he sees something about the suit. The suit's gone missing, and he sees this on the news. Kate's stolen it from the auction. She's running around beating up guys and saving dogs, as we established. And then he's just like, "Yep, I guess I gotta go." Like, after saying, I will definitely be here for Christmas. Don't worry, it's only 6 days until Christmas. I am going to be back home for Christmas. Did I mention
3 days
I will
later
be home for Christmas? So we know this motherfucker's not getting back for Christmas, but we're going to learn a valuable lesson in the process of missing Christmas. He's going to find a new family with fangirl Kate. But here's the thing: why is the suit and the sword so damn important to him? What does it do to him if anyone has this suit? There's nothing remarkable about it. You can't ID him from the suit, I presume, unless he's got like his name written on it.
It's the opposite. When he was Ronin, he was nasty. He did some horrible things because of what had happened to the world. He wasn't Hawkeye anymore. He was like a man on the edge, and he made some dangerous enemies. So he knows anyone wearing that suit is a target. Well, we saw Kate wore the suit for one night. Her place gets firebombed. That's what he wants. He wants to get that suit out of the public eye because whoever wears it is probably going to get killed violently. That's what it is.
I completely agree. However, you said it yourself. The suit gets firebombed in the apartment. They go back and get it out. Why not just leave it to burn?
It doesn't burn. It's a superhero suit.
Oh, it's a superhero suit. Don't give
well, we
me
saw
that
it.
bullshit.
The LARPers took it. You saw it in perfect.
Bury it. Bury the suit. They're just.
He wants to destroy it.
Just wants. So what? They've got to take it to fucking Mount Doom and drop it in the volcano.
Exactly. They got to get Frodo to save the day.
I don't know, man. I just don't feel like these little like disparate like threads are really. They're just not. It's not hooked me. The show looks great. It's shot really well. The score is great. I love how they mix in the Christmas stuff with the score. I hate it when they do, again, with the establishing shots and the quick like blast of the Christmas song, just like we get it. Mix it in with the score. That was really well done. The action's really well done. We don't get a lot, but it's not too like over the top, like super flashy. It's not full on Winter Soldier, but they dipped their toe, and I think it would have taken me out, to be honest, if I think the action was too good, because this is very like grounded in, just the inter-character kind of interactions, and just, this just feels very low level, like what we established at the beginning with the Avengers battle. We see the Leviathan, it does maintain that throughout. But I don't know. I feel like the pacing is just slow. It just feels slow.
I loved it. I mean, obviously that's the whole point of having two people on the show for different views, because I honestly thought so far of all the Marvel series, this probably ranks joint favorite with me with Loki. I don't think there was. I actually thought the pacing in Falcon and Winter Soldier was even slower and worse. The action was too far spread, and I love the buddy cop interactions we're going to get or are already getting with Kate and Clint. I like the family dynamics. I love the characters they're introducing, obviously. But then again, I've clearly come in more as a comic book nerd, so that's why I'm enjoying it more. So yeah.
I mean, we got the I really like Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
And I feel like we do get a lot of the same stuff in that we get here. I just feel like, and it's done better. You've got the family dynamic with Sam and his sister and the boat and that whole situation. And then the buddy cop element with Bucky and Sam. And obviously I think it maybe it's a bit unfair because they've had, several movies and stuff to kind of develop some chemistry and everything. And I do like the chemistry between Kate and Clint. I just don't feel there's just the jokes are fine. I'm not eye rolling at them like I would be in some of the other stuff, but I just feel like it's just missing a little bit of just a little bit of snap, you know. And I think that shows in both the writing of like the dialogue and also like the overall story arc with the plot. I just want something, you know, even give me something like at the end of the second episode to like really, really get me, you know, speculating or just excited for where we're going, you know.
Yeah, I feel the opposite. I think they've done just enough, and the introduction of Echo at the end of episode 2 is genius because obviously Clint in the comics it's been established that he's deaf for decades, and they've only just brought that into the series now, which
Yeah,
is
that's
odd.
a bit weird. Yeah,
Yeah,
just
but Echo is a Marvel villain who's also deaf, and but with a twist. But obviously, I don't want to give too much away because obviously we've just met her. We want to see episodes 3 and onwards to see if she's like her comic book counterpart. So I'm the opposite. I'm loving it, and I think what they're doing is spot on. But again, I'm seeing it through different set of lenses to yourself, Dean.
yeah.
So
I saw I've read some stuff with Echo in. She popped up in some of the new Avengers stuff that I was reading, but I don't know much about the character specifically, so I don't know what the twist is. And I
I'll
just
keep
think
quiet.
a lot of people not really knowing, you know, like it's just a person that you see at the end of the episode. There's no distinguishable like thing about her that you get from the brief appearance that, you know. And if I'm not hooked and I know who the character is, you know, I know I've not really followed the online discourse, to be honest. I try not to watch
Neither have
too
I
much
refuse
stuff.
to because I only saw the 2 episodes today.
Yeah,
So I've avoided the internet like the plague, which is very hard to do considering what I do for a living. But
yeah,
never mind.
but yeah, I'm not hearing anything strong either way, which I don't know if that's good. That could be
I only
good.
speak to guys on the sites, and everyone on the sites. Again, we're all comic book writers, readers, and reviewers. So the consensus from the comics fans has been really good. I don't know what it's been like from the TV and movie fans as much, but the comic fans are loving it so far.
Yeah, which is I think probably similar with Eternals as well, right? You know, that was kind of had this very slow, different kind of pace to it, and a lot of, you know, kind of went deeper on the comic book stuff. But whereas this is like a more like grounded thing, you're not expecting to have to know like loads about all this like cosmic lore and all of this like alternate wonderful magical universes. But then like you're saying, you've got all these little things like, you know, like with the dog and the tracksuit mafia and like the fucking swordsman. Who's well versed in the swordsman, man? Like, we're not ready for this shit. Like, I will
He was an
follow
Avenger for years and years and years. So
I will follow a raccoon to the ends of the universe, and I
and
do not.
Squirrel Girl.
And Squirrel Girl, bring it on. But Swordsman, um, I mean, he does. The actor does look like the character, like out of the costume. At least I don't know if we'll see him.
Only the Tash.
That's it. That's all it is, isn't it? That's a defining character trait. I mean, you can write that for many series and seasons to go. Just he's European. He's got a tash.
And his name's Jack.
Yay! Yeah, of course it is. Of course it is. But yeah, let's have a look at I feel like have we really gone much into episode 2?
Not really.
So, well, you know, so there's the fire in the apartment. They still take the suit because the suit's not going to burn or melt. Apparently, that's fine. I love the stuff with there. It's like, oh, we need to get supplies, and she's like, oh,
brilliant.
what, like Avengers supplies, and it's like, then it just cuts to them in like the convenience store buying like aspirin and stuff, and she's just casually walking around with a bow on her shoulder in the fucking store, which a little bit weird, but I enjoyed the moment.
I loved it.
And that's when we get the reveal of the mum gave her credit cards as well. So she's just fucking stocked to go on a vigilante rampage around anywhere she chooses. Thanks, mum.
Parenting done right.
Yes. Okay, so then they're splitting ways, right? because Ronin, there's some stuff on the news. Hawkeye's like, okay, now there's even more. I'm going to leave you. I'm going to go some more on a walk through the city with some more establishing shots. He says, hopefully this is the last time I have to see you, Kate. Kate's having dinner with Mum and the bad guy. And then Hawkeye's had his suit stolen by a LARPer.
I love that.
And we get into this very long bit about Hawkeye going LARPing. Do we need this? Do we really need this?
Yes, represent my people.
I'm all about it. I'm all about it. But like this scene, I want to say scene, this is like a good chunk of the episode is I've got to go, that guy's got my suit. Okay, but now I've got to sign up. I can't just walk up to him and just take the suit. Okay, now the guy's got like requests and I've got to like play the whole match and then lose the fight and the duel at the end. And it's just like, dude, just knock him out. Knock him the fuck out.
He's a hero, damn it. You can't knock out an innocent bystander.
So worried about how dangerous this suit is that we can't let it burn. We can't just throw it at the sun. You know, we can't get fucking,
That's probably what he wants to do. He wants to take it so he can take it to Stark Industries for some fucker to melt it because no other means will destroy it.
But then it's not that important. You know, he's got there's this kid involved now. There could be mafia dudes showing up to kill this kid or him or his family. And he's just like, yeah, well, I'll play along with this LARPing bit for half the episode. That's absolutely fine. And then lo and behold, now he can't make the flight to get back to the family.
4 days.
See how it all works out. We come all full circle. You keeping count of the days here?
Yes.
Because I hate it when they do stuff like that in shows and movies where they're like, we only have 6 hours to get back to this thing. And then like they do like 8 weeks worth of stuff in between getting back for the 6 hour timer to go ding. But that's fine. You keep track of the days. I'll just lose notes for half the episode and keep track of the other half. So then we get Kate, who does make it back to her family. She's having dinner with the family, not having fun, just grilling the stepdad. Like this stuff is like out of a Disney Channel movie, man. This is like the fucking Parent Trap or some shit.
It really is. I loved it because it's pure Disney. It's purely. I thought, hang on, they've veered off the course here. This is no longer an MCU film or an MCU series. All of a sudden, it's the anti-Parent Trap, and rather than the evil stepmom, it's the evil stepdad who could also be a vigilante stroke murderer and what. But yeah, I just like the twist. It's not. It wasn't like your generic first opening introduction to a Marvel hero thing because that's what I was expecting it to be. I was expecting another Captain America one, Iron Man one, but it was not because of Kate. And I really want this to slowly stop being Clint's show and become Kate's show because we've already got Sam as Captain America. We're going to get Kate as the new Hawkeye. Yelena as the new Black Widow, a whole new generation of heroes before eventually, yes, all the classics come back. But we need a bit of fresh blood after some of the not best, greatest Marvel films recently. So I think this series and the ones that come before it are going to help shake things up a little bit.
Yeah, I can't help but feel like the look and feel of this show is like they want it to be like Born Identity, but then the writing is like Lizzie fucking McGuire. I don't know.
Well, Jeremy Renner was the not born in the Born and Not Born fourth film. So.
Yeah, exactly. But I don't like you, stepdad, and I'm going to challenge you to a fencing match. And now we're doing fencing in just in the house, like you know. When you're a kid and you tell your mum you don't like the new boyfriend, it's just like, shut up and go to your room. We're having wine and dinner and having sex. Okay. It's not, oh, sure. Yeah. Just hang around and have a fucking 3-round fencing tournament in the in the hallway.
If I got home from uni and my house was suddenly full of swords, and this dude with an evil moustache who is clearly about as safe as poison is sniffing around my mum, and they're suddenly engaged out of nowhere, I'd think, nah, I'm not having any of this. You, sword fella, get your sword out. Yeah. I mean, the metal one.
Yeah, the mum is clearly at fault in this situation.
Oh, no doubt.
She bought Kate the bow. She trained, let her do all this stuff, give her the credit cards, give her the private jet and all of that stuff. And the way she just suckers in for this guy, like she's under like a fucking brain spell. It's like the guy's fucking Purple Man from Jessica Jones or something. She's just blindly following along with him. He's clearly a fucking wrong'un. And
dude, you're a Brit, I'm a Brit. We know how the Americans fall for a foreign accent. It's just like it's our magic.
Yeah, they love us. I walk around just, you know,
yes, we're always
just reading the phone book, and it's like the Pied Piper. They just back up there, just got a backlog going on. So back on track.
Rewind.
Hawkeye gets kidnapped by a bunch of dudes from a van very easily. They literally just smash him once with a bat, and that's it. He's out. I mean, I know he hasn't got the bow and arrow, but come on.
He did it on purpose. He wanted to get caught, and then Kate messed it up.
He could have just made it look convincing, have a little bit of a wonder, because even they say, like, well, that was easy. We just captured an Avenger.
But they all shit themselves when he breaks out the handcuffs.
Fair enough.
He planned that. So I've got to go get captured. He actually says it.
Yeah, just have these bad guys, have they not seen like every movie where the trope is that the bad guy has to get captured just to get the one over?
Worst bad guys ever. I love them. They're brilliant. They're so inept. Yep.
You know they're going to get captured on purpose to break out. It's what the Joker did in The Dark Knight. It's what Moriarty did in the fucking Sherlock Holmes movie. It's what everyone wants to do.
But it's usually the bad guys getting captured on purpose. This time it was good old Clint.
This is why they should know. They know better.
But these bad guys are rubbish bad guys. They're crap bad guys. They're bad guys.
Then don't put them in the TV shows that I'm watching, because I want to watch TV shows with good bad guys. Damn it.
Echo is here.
She is here.
Yes.
So Kate and Clint are in the taxi. Wakey Hawkeye. Bad dialogue, in my opinion. I didn't write any specifics of it down because I didn't care to. And then we get what I've described here in my notes as a Korn music video villain entrance with all the red lighting and the grimy industrial metal music playing.
Which she can't even hear, which is very ironic.
She can't even hear it. Just, yeah, I don't know. Where do we go from here? Final thoughts.
Hopefully to some shenanigans, and hopefully a couple of scenes where Hawkeye and Hawkeye Jr. have to fight in the dark or without sound, and some nice innovative action scenes. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Does Kingpin show up in this prediction?
Wow.
I heard rumors.
More modern rumors of good old Charlie Cox appearing as Daredevil in the new Spider-Man movie. I can keep my fingers crossed. And remember, actually, no, you might not know. There's a massive Jessica Jones connection with Kate Bishop from the comics. So I'm keeping everything crossed. Yeah, in the comics, Kate was almost mentored every bit as much by Jessica Jones as she was by Hawkeye, especially in the early days. Yeah, so I'm hoping they bring all that into it.
I don't know if I want Jessica Jones training my kid, although, you know, Kate Bishop hasn't got the best mum. Yeah.
At least Jessica Jones is indestructible, and if she stands in front of her, she's going to take a bullet for her. What's mum going to do? Here, have a sword.
Here's how to
juggle some
drink a whole bottle of whiskey and get your head smashed against the headboard repeatedly for 3 hours and survive.
Yes.
And then also maybe fire some arrows. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever you want to do in your spare time. You know, all about the, abusive relationship, PTSD, and alcoholic coping mechanisms.
And now stepdad from hell. Thanks, Mum.
So lucky you just got mild Avengers musical PTSD. Hawkeye with a hearing aid that he's never once used. They literally the hearing aids in the comics, and they just they never had any injury.
Not once.
How we said at the beginning about how like they clearly had no idea in Man of Steel that they were going to do the Batman thing and all of that. There was never any intention to have that hearing aid. They just felt like, yeah, we should probably just put that in there just to keep people off of our backs. And oh, by the way, Hawkeye was deaf.
Yeah. Pretty much.
It's fine.
But I like the fact they better late than never. They brought it in.
They worked it in there, and it doesn't detract, but it's still noticeable. But and are they going to? It's going to come up in the plot. There'll be a thing with a hearing aid, and it'll do the frequency thing.
Yeah.
They'll set something up worthy of having it in there. I trust in the writers. I wasn't in love with Loki for the first couple of episodes, and I came round by the end. Same with Falcon and Winter Soldier. So I trust in the regime. I'll shield for another week, and I will see everyone here hopefully next week. Where can they find you on the medias?
Oh, blimey. It's hard to escape me. I mentioned, so many fingers, so many pies. Easiest way to read my work across DC Comics News, Dark Knight News, Fantastic Universes, and CBIs, just type Steve J. Ray or Fantastic Universes into your search engine of choice. And to hear these dulcet tones in a British accent like my friend Dean, just listen to the DC Comics News podcast. I Am the Night, where my offspring and I chat about Batman the Animated Series every week, or on the Comics Emotion feed with Superheroes for Dummies, where the listeners tell us who they want us to talk about, and they send in all their questions for us to answer. Or on Twitter at @LStevo, EL_STEEVO.
That's a spiel and a half right there.
Yeah.
That's impressive. You can get me on Twitter at Dean Lewis 2099. That is it. Sometimes you'll get me over on the JCast Network talking Star Wars. We'll be covering Book of Boba Fett when that comes out soon. Might have some other potential shows in the works, some Schmodown related stuff, some other stuff. Who knows? All kinds of stuff. What is life? What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more. I don't know why I did that. See everyone next week.
Peace.